A mini booster calls for a mini breakdown. This one's probably going to be pretty damn fast because this set doesn't really have that many new cards. It's a bunch of reprints. I think there's actually a total of only 8 new cards. So you get like all the trial deck reprints for Royals and Kagero, and then like all the triggers are in super full art, and so are the starters. So if you're looking to max bling your deck completely, then just go ahead and pick those up. But we're going to be just focusing on the new cards in this set. But before that, the part that I'm mostly excited about from this set actually is those like anime screenshot Vice Schwartz looking markers. And since there's a lot of them, I'm just gonna go over all of them by the use of sound. Let's begin. Oh. Now that we're done with that, let's go over the actual cards. So we're gonna go with Royals first, I guess. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much because this is probably not gonna take very long, but it's still worth to go over the different cards. So, for Royals, starting off, we have Exculpate the Blaster in both VR and SVR. So he does have the Force marker, and this is the first grade 4 in the main deck for Royal Paladins. So, Vanguard Circle, when placed, you may counterblast 1 and choose 1 card from your soul and put all of the other cards from your soul into the drop zone, and when this unit attacks during this turn, it battles all of your opponent's units in 1 attack. So it's kind of like Brawlers back in the day, where you just attack as well, not every unit from what I remember, but the majority of your opponent's field simultaneously. So it's a pretty cool way to field wipe, I guess, and it just makes it pretty nice. Also has 14k base power, but you won't really be staying on that because of his second skill, which is Vanguard Circle Auto. At the end of the battle that he attacked, put 2 cards from your hand into your soul and retire this unit, and then ride a Blaster Blade from your soul as stand. If you could not ride, you lose. He's just no chill. Like, if you can't ride, then, well, too bad, I guess. So he is an interesting card. There's been some decks around him that have been topping here and there, but not that many. But I think it's still a pretty cool card. I think once Royals get their next wave of support, he won't really be played. Even now, it's a question of whether you play him or not. Most people don't really bother. So I think it's kind of like, it's a cool win con, but you need to build your deck around him. The other problem is that he kind of asks you to put your force markers under Vanguard so that the Blaster Blade actually attacks with some pressure, and you have to kind of build around him, so it kind of takes away from the usual playstyle of Royals in Standard, so I think that's a bit of a problem with this guy that some people aren't all that happy about. Next up, we have the thing that makes it a bit more consistent to run grade 4s, which is Benon. So when you call him, you can reveal an Exculpate from your hand and return it to your deck. So search for an Alfred early, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So you have to run Alfred early as well, which some decks don't, but quite a few decks still do. So I guess it's nice, if anything, like, it's a consistency fixer if you really want to ride that Alfred early first, but again, it's like, Alfred early doesn't really sit that well with the Soul Saver focused builds, but I don't know, I think the card's fine. I think it's just good that it is a consistency fixer so that you're not stuck with having, grade 4s in your hand with no grade 3s, and then you just kind of have to like misride for a turn or like G-assist or something like that. So it's nice that this card exists and that they printed it properly as well. And finally, probably the biggest disappointment of this set is Sage of Guidance Xenon. When called, reveal the top card of your deck. If its grade is the same as your Vanguard, ride that card as stand, and if not, put into your drop zone. It's the same skill as the old Xenon. I personally really hoped when this card was being shown in the anime that it would have a skill, something like if you don't get the same grade, then like you countercharge 1, or you draw 1, or something like that. Like, at least something for not getting the same grade, so that calling him isn't a waste and that running him isn't a waste. But right now it's just like, why would you ever run this? It's a terrible idea unless you make like a super weird gimmicky build in premium that runs just like a bunch of grade 3s and runs the ride chain or something. Like, it's just ridiculous in my opinion. I think it's a bit disappointing that they didn't print any other effects. I was really hoping this would be Royal's countercharger in the set, but I guess that's just too good to be true. And the final card, which is a personal disappointment, is Fearno. This, oh my god, I love her art so much. Like when we had her in the demo decks, I really liked her art, but her skill is just so disappointing as well. It's Vanguard Rearguard Circle Act. You may counterblast 2 to call a card from your hand to Rearguard Circle, and this unit get plus 10k power. Like, you counterblast 2, and you don't even draw a card from this. Why would you run this? It's so it's not even for a budget deck. Like, you wouldn't, like, you're better off saving up a little bit and picking up Soul Savers than running this. Like, it's such a waste of amazing art. It looks like an adult, like, Lilia from Pokemon Sun Moon. It's just such a shame that, like, this amazing art got wasted. So Royals didn't really get such an amazing boost from this set. I think Exculpate is more or less the only thing, and if you run Exculpate, then you run Benon as well. But apart from that, you're just mostly just getting those cool markers and the cool triggers and starter to make it actually worth buying this set for any reason. So a bit unfortunate, but that's how it is for Royals. Then going into Kagero, which in my opinion got a bit better support, I think. So the main VR/SVR is Transcendence, Dragon, Dragonic, Nouvelle Vague. Interesting to note is that Exculpate has 14k base power, but then Nouvelle Vague has 15k, but you actually sit on that 15k, so you actually sit on the Nouvelle Vague properly, because you're going to be, well, after you ride into him, you're most likely staying on him to use his effects and to benefit off of that base power too. So his skill is Act Vanguard Circle once per turn. You may Soul Blast one grade 3 or greater card, and until end of turn, all your opponent's triggers are nullified. He gets plus 20k, but loses one drive check, and if you or your opponent have 5 cards in their damage zone, you nuke your opponent's board, basically, so you retire all the rear guards. So really good skill in my opinion. I think again it's like a card you have to build around, but it's a lot better than Exculpate, because I think, sure, you lose the drive check, which is pretty big, but if you can get that field wipe for all 5 cards, I don't mind losing a drive check for the sake of having one of the, you know, strongest board wipes in the game in Standard right now, plus having a 15k base and still having a lot of power and nullifying triggers, which makes, you know, pushing for those last couple of damage really nice. So you can also combine this with Jugana Gaius if you want to, because that can put up his crit, so that way you're swinging with a big power as well as the extra crit, and you're nullifying any triggers, so it's just really nice. I know some people were hoping it would have like a guard restriction or something, but I think for Standard this is enough, and you have a quite, you know, you have a couple good rear guards around him too, so let's go over that as well. So the first one of which is the Nouvelle Critic Dragon. It's a grade 2 rearguard circle skill. When his attack hits a Vanguard, you can search your deck for up to 1 Nouvelle Vague, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So this is pretty nice because it's an on-hit with no cost, so you don't have to like retire this unit, or you don't have to like count +1, soul +1, discard 1, nothing. It's just eternal on-hit pressure of, if this hits, I +1, and that's it. You don't even have to get rid of the Nouvelle Critic, it stays there. I really like this actually. This is a good grade 2. I think it makes the deck easier to play, because even if you don't go into Nouvelle Vague, you have nice plays to go through, and that way it's just nice. So I think this actually helps make Nouvelle a pretty consistent and strong deck. Well, this consistency depends on the hitting, but then there's also grade 1, which is Nouvelle Roman Dragon. So Nouvelle Roman Dragon's skill is, when you call it, you can reveal a Nouvelle Vague from your hand and return it to your deck. Search your deck for up to 1 Dragonic Overlord, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So it's basically the same as Benon, just a grade 1, which, you know, it's not bad, but I'm pretty happy that it's this way around rather than Nouvelle Critic skill being on a grade 1, because having to boost and hit is a bit harder than just like dropping a 10k that just has to hit anything, you know, to be able to activate its skill. That way always forcing the opponent to guard it. So I like Nouvelle Roman a lot. I think it makes just the general Nouvelle Vague deck really nice, and so I like it a lot for that. But sadly we have to finish on a disappointment, which is Agaruda. So act Vanguard Rearguard Circle, costs Counterblast 2. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it, and if you retire the rearguard, he gets plus 5k until end of turn. God, why? Why couldn't you be better? Like, the backgrounds are so nice. Like, at least this is slightly okay, because like with Fierno, she has to call from hand. She doesn't even call like from top deck or from deck in general. This at least like actually minuses 1 your opponent, so at least for the counterblast that you're paying, you get some sort of advantage from it. Like, that's basically the only good part about this. So oof, like Kagero got the slightly better treatment this set, but even then I think it's a little bit disappointing. So, but overall I think Nouvelle is fine, but that rare is just, it's pretty terrible. But apart from that, the set's, you know, alright. If you want to buy the boxes, then go ahead. I think, you know, I personally was looking forward to this set for the markers, because I wanted more Asaka and Kote markers, so I bought those. But outside of that, I think Exculpate is a pretty fun deck that you can play. Obviously it does have the risks, and you have to build around it, which is still okay. And then same with Nouvelle Vague as well. Basically it's just a new deck, but I think in both cases, I don't know about Royals actually, but Kagero, the Waterfall deck is definitely better. But for Royals, I think it's debatable whether Exculpate or the Alfred Soul Saver deck is better. So I think it's still worth to give it a shot if you do feel like playing the cards, so do feel free to check them out. But on that note, that's going to be it for this mini breakdown of this mini booster, of this mini set of these mini things that I can't keep on going with. But that's going to be it for me today. Don't forget to check out the second channel, as well as click the bell button. Also, do check out the social medias in the description, and join the Discord channel if you haven't already. But on that note, that's going to be it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.